Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Arpita Karwa and today we are continuing our exciting journey wherein we are discussing different periods of English literature. Those of you who are preparing for UGC NET English, I'm pretty sure would be aware of the importance of British literature. Around 50% of the paper is set from British literature itself, and therefore it is very important for every NET aspirant to know British history in detail. And therefore, we have come up with this specific crash course series wherein we are going through each and every age of English literature. And this entire crash course series is available free of cost on our YouTube channel. So, in the previous video, we have dived into the fascinating world of Anglo-Saxon era, and today we are moving on to the next stage where we are discussing Anglo-Norman era. This era marks a significant turning point in English history and literature, bringing with it new influences that shaped not just English language but also themes and style of writing for centuries to come. In this video, we are going to cover all the must-know points from UGC NET English exam perspective that you should know about Anglo-Norman Age. Today, we are going to explore the socio-political background of Anglo-Norman Age. We are going to look at how literature evolved during this time, and we will also be looking at the key writers and literary works of this era. So, if you want to grasp the essence of Anglo-Norman era in just 10 minutes, this revision capsule is perfect for you. And friends, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more valuable content because this video that you are watching right now is a part of the chronological history of English literature series, a crash course series, and all the other lectures that are a part of this particular series you can find in the playlist section. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel and also visit the playlist section. So let's get started and make every minute count. Okay, so let us begin our discussion by talking about the socio-political background of the Anglo-Norman era. Now, Anglo-Norman era is a part of the Middle English period which lasted from 1066 to 1300 AD. Now, if you watched my previous video, you must be aware of the fact that right before Anglo-Norman era was the Anglo-Saxon era. But how did this shift happen? So, it all started in 1066 AD when William, who was Duke of Normandy, defeated Harold Godwinson in the famous Battle of Hastings. Now, this marked the end of Anglo-Saxon period and the beginning of William's rule as William I of England, also known as William the Conqueror. And that is how Anglo-Saxon era came to an end and Anglo-Norman era started. Now, one major event of this time was murder of Thomas Becket. Who was Thomas Becket? He was the Archbishop of Canterbury and he was murdered in 1170. Now, Thomas Becket had a fight with King Henry II over who should have more power, the king or the church. Sadly, this argument led to Becket being killed by Canterbury Cathedral, which became a historic moment. And you should know this date because in UGC NET, nowadays they are asking a lot of dates or important years where major historical events happened that has impacted literature in some or the other way. Now, if we talk about Anglo-Norman Age, this period also saw the start of Middle English as a language where Norman French mixed with Anglo-Saxon language to form the base of modern English. Now, Middle English period is divided into three parts: before Chaucer, age of Chaucer, and after Chaucer. Now, before Chaucer is when Norman French had a strong influence on English writing. Age of Chaucer is this particular period when great works written by Geoffrey Chaucer became popular, and then there was a period after Chaucer when writers continued to develop English literature even further. In today's video, we are basically looking at the before Chaucer period. But just to give you an idea that Middle English period is a very, very long period that lasted for about 400 years. Now, this period is very important because it shaped not just the government and society that ruled England in the times to come, but also it shaped the language and literature. But before moving on, did I mention that I've created a special PDF that summarizes this entire video and provides you exam ready notes? The notes that you're seeing right now on screen, all those are there in a PDF form. You just have to drop a message on the WhatsApp number that is there on your screen, or you can click on the WhatsApp link that's there in the description box, and my team is going to send the handy PDF right on your phone. All right, friends. So now that we have talked about the socio-political condition of this age, it's important to also look at the literary characteristics of Anglo-Norman era. Now, this period brought big changes to English literature as well as English language. So, let's dive in. First, let's talk about the influence of French literature and French language. After the Norman conquest, the rulers of England had a strong preference for French culture and literature. Why so? Because French or kings from France, they became the rulers of England. And because French rulers were ruling England, they brought with them French language and literature. And because of this, the old Anglo-Saxon style of heroic poems and alliterative verse were replaced by French style of writing. These new styles brought themes of courtly love, adventure, chivalry into English writing, because these were the themes that were tackled by writers who were writing in France at that time. Next important thing that you must know about the literature that was written during this period was that courtly romances and chivalry became very popular as themes. In this period, many stories were written about knights and their adventures, and these tales often showed knights' bravery, their loyalty towards the kingdom, and respect for women, which were important parts of the chivalric code. Now, this gave English literature a more refined and noble tone. Now, let's talk about the language even more. So, if you talk about Anglo-Norman era, this period made England a trilingual country. Now, what is a trilingual country? Because three languages were dominating the country at that time. That's why it is known as trilingual, three languages. The upper class spoke Norman French, which was the language of the aristocrats. The church and the educated scholars used Latin because it was more refined, and just like we have Sanskrit, similarly, Latin was considered to be a better language than Anglo-Norman or Anglo-French. And then we had the common people. They continued to speak English, normal Anglo-Norman or Anglo-Saxon English. So you can see Norman French, Anglo-Saxon language, and then we have Latin. So these were the three languages that were spoken in the country at that time. Now, over time, you will see that English language absorbed many words and styles from Norman French as well, which changed its spelling, vocabulary, and the way it was written. This mix was the beginning of modern English. That's why even today, when you go and look up for words in a dictionary, you will see that most of these words have Latin origin or French origin. Why so? Because those words came into English language during that particular era. Anglo-Norman era के टाइम पे फ्रेंच, नॉर्मन, लैटिन, इन सारे लैंग्वेजेस के वर्ड्स इंग्लिश में आने लग गए, जिस वजह से इंग्लिश एज अ लैंग्वेज became better, it became more diverse, and there were a lot of changes in terms of vocabulary, spelling, and how it was written. Okay, friends, so now we move on to another interesting section of today's video, wherein we are going to talk about the most important writers and their works from the Anglo-Norman period. So, those of you who are preparing for UGC NET exam, this is the section from where you can expect the most number of questions. But before we move on and talk about the most important works and writers, I would just want to give a small message to all of you. If you're looking for video lectures that can explain plot of all these important works of Anglo-Norman age and all the other ages that are there in British history, then you can consider enrolling in my online course for UGC NET English. We are proud to launch India's first animated video course, wherein I explain over 500 important plays, novels, and poems in a very engaging manner. For more details, you can check out the description box or give us a call on the number that is flashing on your screen. Okay, so without any further delay, let's jump right into the topic and let's talk about the most famous historical works. So, in this particular list, the first important poet or writer that we would be talking about is Geoffrey of Monmouth, who wrote the famous Historia Regum Britannia. This is a very long work, basically giving historical account of all the kings of Britain and includes legendary stories such as that of King Arthur. If you have ever come across the work of Thomas Malory, Les Mortes d'Arthur, I'm pretty sure that you know who King Arthur was. He was a mythical king of Britain, very, very famous, and he has been talked about in so many works across generations. So, Geoffrey of Monmouth was the first person to write something in this historical domain where he wrote Historia Regum Britannia. Next, we have Vase, another writer who wrote Roman de Brut. Now, Roman de Brut was nothing but an adaptation of Geoffrey's work, but this was written in French verse, making it accessible to the Norman elite class. So, you can see Geoffrey of Monmouth wrote Historia Regum Britannia. Later, this was adapted by Vase and he wrote something called Roman de Brut, which was written in Norman French. Okay, and then we have Layman. Now, what does Layman write? Layman wrote something called Brut. Now, this is a Middle English version of Vase text. So, Geoffrey of Monmouth wrote Historia Regum Britannia. Then we have Vase who translated it, I would say adapted it, and wrote something called Roman de Brut in French language. And then we have Layman who wrote Brut, talking about the same content but wrote this in Middle English language. So Layman also added more details about English tradition, England's culture and legends, giving it distinctly English flavor. So these were the writers who were writing in the domain of historical writing. Next up, we have some important poems that were written in Anglo-Norman era and most of them were dominated by Christian themes. So from the work itself, you can understand the kind of themes and style of writing that was prevalent during this period. So, talking about poems, we have the first one, which is Owl and the Nightingale. Now, it's a debate poem about differences between two birds representing a clash of ideas and philosophies. So, Owl and Nightingale, these are two birds who represent contrasting views and they are debating. And the entire poem is basically about the two different viewpoints and how they keep on telling each other how they are right. Next up, we have another beautiful religious poem that is Pearl. So, this is a religious poem that speaks of loss and spiritual comfort. In a similar format, we have another interesting poem which is known as Shanshudi Just. Now, this work is not just one poem, it's a collection or a genre of poetry, and these are nothing but epic poems that are written in French language that celebrated heroic deeds and adventures. Next up, we have another religious poem, which is a very, very long poem known as Cursor Mundi. Now, this poem provides a history of the world from a Christian's perspective. So, just like we have so many epics in Indian culture, in Hindu culture, that talks about how world came into existence and talks about the creation of the universe. Similarly, this work, Cursor Mundi, talks about beginning of the world from a Christian's perspective. And then we have Ancrine Reel. Now, Ancrine Reel is a guidebook written for women who wants to lead a religious life. And this entire guidebook offers a lot of advice on spirituality, on how you should lead a very religious and pious life. But these are not just the only ones. We have another important poem which is written by the Pearl poets, the poem that we just spoke about that talks about loss and spiritual comfort. The same poet wrote two more poems, which is Patience and Purity. Now, Patience is a poem that teaches the virtue of patience through the story of Jonah from Bible. So, Bible mein there is a very nice story which talks about the importance of patience and how God is always helping people who are patient during the turbulent time in their life. So that story is the plot of this particular poem, Patience. And then we have the last Anglo-Norman poem that we are going to discuss in today's lecture, which is Purity. Now, it's also a religious poem that emphasizes on the importance of staying pure and faithful to God. Okay, so Now that we have discussed the historical books or historical works written during this period and the Christian themed poetry, there is something more that you should know when it comes to Anglo-Norman period, and that is the most important story of this period, which is of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Now, this story is a tale of bravery, honor, and challenges faced by Sir Gawain, who was a knight of King Arthur's court. So, if you remember, when I was discussing the work Historia Regum Britannia, written by Geoffrey of Monmouth, I spoke about King Arthur, who was a very, very famous king associated with British history. And in his kingdom, there was a knight known as King Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. And this tale became really popular during the Anglo-Norman period, and also we will see the references Sir Gawain and Green Knight keeps on popping up in various other works in history of English literature. So this tale of Sir Gawain and Green Knight actually originated or became popular during the Anglo-Norman period. So this is something that you should also be aware of. So, the list of all these important works and writers are available completely free of cost on my website, arpitakarwa.com. In fact, you will find an age-wise chronological list of all these writers that we have discussed, also their works and everything in one single place. So, make sure you check out my website and take full advantage of these free resources. So, that's it from my side from this video lecture. We'll meet very soon in the next video lecture. Till the time we meet next, happy learning, keep loving literature, and stay tuned to arpitakarwa.com.